You're watching First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
We'll use Kevin however he wants to be used. I told you Kevin is going to be our main focus. He's going to have a hell of a season. He's going to get back to that all-star status, and he's the focal point of us offensively. I know I can go out and get mine when I need it, but I need Kev to be, as aggressive as he was tonight. And when he rebounds at the level that he did tonight, then the shots will automatically fall for him. I knew he'd be sharp when I had my conversation with him in Los Angeles in off-season.
Stephen A., what do you make of it? LeBron's thoughts on Love. He had a good game last night.
Well, I think that the level of appreciation that LeBron has for him now clearly wasn't always there. And being the class act that he can be when he wants to be, he remembered that there was a time that he may not have appreciated Kevin Love as much as he should have until the finals arrived. And when the finals arrived and you didn't have Kevin Love to hit from the outside, and you had to, relegate yourself to relying on a J.R. Smith or an Iman Shumpert to hit shots from the outside, I think the appreciation for Kevin Love elevated exponentially. We have to remember something here. Everybody keeps looking at Mozgov and Tristan Thompson and all of this other stuff with LeBron. If you are the Cleveland Cavaliers, it actually is possible, because of the versatility of LeBron, to have Tristan Thompson in the game at the same time you have Kevin Love. Because Tristan Thompson can crash the boards, and he can defend. And the fact that he can do those two things effectively can free Kevin Love up to be out on the floor with him. You don't have to choose one or the other sometimes. You can actually play them together because of the versatility that LeBron James brings to the equation. And I think LeBron James realizes, because of that loss in the finals to the Golden State Warriors, that this is a guy whose value can end up being immeasurable on this team with me on the floor with him, because I can get him the ball, and more importantly, I can get him open shots. And if there's one thing that Kevin Love can do, he can make some open shots from the perimeter and beyond the three-point line, as he showed last night, and even before to some degree against Chicago in the opener. Kevin Love can shoot that basketball. He's no superstar, but he is no scrub. He can play this game, and he can help Cleveland win a championship, and LeBron knows that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but what I'm not buying is LeBron's trying to talk about Kevin Love as if he's some kind of Kevin Durant, and he's just not. No. He's trying to talk Kevin Love into being worth the $113 million extension that they just gave him, and he will never be. And I'm going to remind you that last year, 16 times Kevin Love was not played in the fourth quarter, sat the bench for the entire fourth quarter, because David Blatt's saying, I don't love this. I would rather go with Tristan or whoever else has a hot hand at that point in the fourth quarter. So remember, LeBron even tweeted last year about his frustration with Love, or maybe it was motivation for Kevin Love. And I get it, because, listen, the shocker of the night in the NBA last night is that the Cavaliers playing back-to-back on the road
30.
At Memphis, they win by 30 points, and LeBron was only required to play 31 minutes with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And Kevin Love had an okay game. He had 13 rebounds, 17 points. Okay, that's fine. I get it. But again, he needs them.
Shot,
but he's not going to be an all-star on this team. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he's an all-star. But he's an all-star for LeBron, with what LeBron wants to do, because of what he needs him to do. That's the difference here.
All right, we got to leave it there. So we've got TS really needs no introduction. 6-time NBA champion, 6-time MVP, 19-time All-Star, and the NBA's all-time leading scorer. We welcome Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Such a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much for being here.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So you are here to discuss your upcoming documentary, Kareem Minority of One, that debuts next Tuesday on HBO?
Yes, on November 3rd.
Okay, what can we expect from the film?
Well, just some insights into what motivated me and what my actual feelings were about so many of the issues that I've become known for. I think it was time to do that and remove all of the mystery and get to a point where people could understand me better.
Interesting.
Why the title Minority of One? specifically?
Well, just the people at Mandalay felt that my stances and just my path has been pretty unique, and I have not done it like anyone else has done it, so I am a minority one in that sense.
You were always so outspoken on social issues, so controversial in your day. How would you characterize, or would you like to see more from today's pro athletes speaking out on social issues?
Well, I'm glad to see that on things that are important and that are meaningful, that the athletes today are taking the initiative to say something. I remember two members of the Cleveland Browns spoke up when Tamir Rice was killed so horribly on Christmas Day last year. And they did that. They spoke out because they were both parents of young men. They both had young male children, and they saw where that could have been their child. And it was something that really concerned them, and they spoke out. I think that in those circumstances, people need to speak out. You don't have to make a career of it, but when something that horrible happens, something has to be done.
Kareem, one of the things that I've noticed and that's really, really pleased me about the modern day athlete, more so than, I'm not talking about your time, I'm talking about afterward, like that late 80s, mid 90s range where folks weren't really saying too much, weren't really willing to take on any issues. In today's day, it's not just the guys are willing to tackle issues. I find it that they're picking the right issues to tackle, like they're thinking for themselves as opposed to coming across as if somebody is thinking for them. Do you find that to be the case as well?
Yeah, for the most part. I think you're absolutely right on with that. Lebron came out, wearing the sweatshirt with "I Can't Breathe" on it, and he was making a statement that a lot of people needed to listen to, especially the young kids that admire him. I think that his ability to communicate with them that way has raised their consciousness and got them to start thinking about things in a different way. And I think he's managed to do a lot of good in that sense.
Last night, as you well know, Kobe Bryant began his 20th NBA season. You played 20 NBA seasons. You finished at age 42. Obviously, Kobe did not go to college, so he's 37. But just so our viewers can grasp this man played 66,297 minutes, the all-time record, and it's about 11,000 more minutes than Kobe has played right now. So how much of an advantage, if any, did a tall man have over a Kobe who's a two-guard? Is there some advantage there?
I think the advantage that the frontline players have is that they don't have to play a speed game. On the perimeter, you have to be fast, you have to be quick, and just burning the rubber all the time really takes more out of you than it does for the frontline players who run a little bit further, but they do it slower. So, we don't get burnt out in the same way that the perimeter players do.
Jumping, would you have jumped less in your later years? Would you be more of a position rebounder or more of a with your head rebounder than?
I think everybody rebounds in their own style. There's not one style of rebounding. Wes Unseld was great as a position guy because you couldn't get around him. Manute Bol will just reach over you and grab rebounds. He could be more stationary. So it all depends on your physical attributes, how you do it.
Kareem, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is basically a two-parter. Number one, I want to know, who do you believe to be the best big man in the game? Because I believe it's DeMarcus Cousins right now. But more importantly, I want to know how you feel about how the game has transitioned to some degree. Back to the basket centers are pretty close to non-existent in this day and age. You got guys that are 5, but they're really a 4. And even when they're a 4, they're the stretch 4, shooting 15 to 17-foot jump shots. You had what I consider to be the most unstoppable move in the history of basketball. I don't see anybody like that. I don't see this game continuing in that direction. I see the game almost being devoid of centers, literally prototypical centers. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think anybody who takes the time to master the back-to-the-basket game is going to be a valuable asset to his team. It just takes someone with the determination and time to learn how to play that way. And that's a very valuable asset, to be able to get high percentage shots, 6 to 8 feet from the basket. You mentioned the way they're more versatile. I see a player like the young man Anthony Davis down with the Pelicans. He can do it all. And I think there's more and more versatility started to demonstrate. But height is always going to be an advantage. And the closer you get to the basket, the more that advantage plays in your favor. So I don't think that's going to change. It might take a different dynamic, but it's not going to change. Size and the ability to score closer to the hoop is always going to be an advantage for someone.
Well, who's the best big man in the game in your eyes?
The best big man ever?
No,
No, the best big man in the game today. Today.
Geez, I haven't seen DeMarcus Cousins play, so I can't assess him. But Anthony Davis, he's able to do everything. He can score, facing the basket, back to the basket. He blocks shots, he rebounds. He does it all. I like the young man from the University of Wisconsin last year. He was able to play back to the basket and come out and shoot three-pointers. That type of versatility is a great asset. So, there's different ways to skin a cat. We'll see more and more as the athletes figure it out and apply it to their skills.
We asked you about Dwight Howard when he was a Laker. Where do you see his career at this stage?
Geez, Dwight Howard, he's somewhere in the middle of the pack. He hasn't ever stepped out and dominated the game in a way that made his team a shoo-in to win it all. I don't want to say any more than that. He plays with one of the best players in the game. So it's not all on his shoulders.
Enough said.
Kareem, thank you so much for the time, and very excited about this new documentary, Minority of One, on HBO Tuesday. We will set our DVRs.
I'm also writing novels now.
You are? Okay.
There's a novel called Mycroft Holmes. It's about Sherlock Holmes' smarter and older brother. I think Stephen A. needs to read that. He might learn, might learn a little something.
Yes, sir.
Shots fired.
Yes, sir.
We need you around here more often.
Yes, sir. I'm not getting into it with you, my man. Not the winner you are. I concede.
So
yes, you do.
With
please.
You on your next long road trip, you got something to read that
right.
you can get a few chuckles at. And
hey, Skip.
Yes.
71 straight wins in high school, 3 consecutive national championships in college, and 6 championships in the pros. I have nothing to say.
I know.
I worship at the altar of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I got nothing to say.
Well, thank you so much.
Winner.
Take care, Stephen.
All right, buddy.
Kareem, thank you. Up next, Russell Westbrook, impressive in his season debut last night. What does it mean for OKC's championship hopes, though? Find out that next.
What do you mean?